Hey, what's up, everyone? My name's Wes. We're talking fierce, furry, and ferocious bear folk and other species in today's video. We are getting into more species reviewing, so don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more. We have Helena's Guide, we have Obajima, we have Humplewood, all to come. Let's get started. First up, we have the BearFolk. Now, these aren't your standard BearFolk because these are from the Book of Ebon Tides. The Kobold Press has a bunch of species. They've been in the game for a long time. And, well, we are only looking at the Book of Ebon Tides, so all of these have like a Shadow Fae type of vibe or feel. So the BearFolk we have aren't your standard BearFolk, but all BearFolk have the following traits. They are medium because they're about 7 foot tall. Their walking speed is 30 feet. They have a bite attack, which is a d6 plus their strength. They have natural armor as well because they're thick and fuzzy boys. So their AC is 13 plus their dex. When we also have powerful build, which they can carry and or lift. They count as one size larger when it comes to lifting or carrying. Really good if you're, playing a grappling build character. Ursine talent gives them proficiency in either athletics or perception, because bears can climb trees. Don't you forget it. And languages, of course. So if you are from the mortal realms, you can speak common. If you are from the Shadow Realm, you speak Umbral. Umbral is... I don't want to call it like Kobold Press's version of Sylvan, but I want to say it's their version of like Undercommon, maybe cross between the two. Anyway, as a BearFolk in the Book of Ebon Tides, we are specifically a Shadowborn BearFolk, which means we get dark vision. Normal BearFolk don't have dark vision. I don't know if bears can see in the dark. After this video, I will definitely Google it. And you're also gonna get a Cloak of Night. So while in dim light or darkness, you have advantage on stealth checks. And you can take the hide action as a bonus action. So, pretty cool bear. The only thing... so I didn't mention the ability score increases, because if you're using the 5e revised rules, then that means you're going to be getting your ability scores from your background. And if you're not, I'm assuming you're using Tasha's, and you can put them wherever. That's why I didn't talk about them. We are going to continue on with the Darakhul. You're undead. I'm pretty sure these came out before Reborn. The Darakhul, whatever the heck they are pronounced, these undead that aren't undead, like I said, sort of like the Reborn, just like the Van Richter's lineages, these Darakhul size are determined by whatever species they were before. Same with their speed. But unlike Reborn, these guys do get dark vision out to 60 feet. My favorite part about when I was playing a Reborn Bard was that I just didn't eat. And there's a time when my character did have to eat randomly for like a few things, and I wrote roleplay that my character felt like it was a nuisance having to eat, breathe, and sleep. All that human stuff was just not for them. So, hunger for the flesh, I get it, but I don't like it. Imperfect Undead, though, this is cool because you benefit from stuff like Cure Wounds and stuff like that. You also are subject to things like Turn Undead, which is super fun, and Divine Sense from a Paladin. You also get a powerful jaw and that is an unarmed strike. All right, so you get powerful jaw. You can make a bite attack. Unarmed strike, dealing 1d4 plus your strength modifier, slashing piercing damage. Then you have sunlight sensitivity, which is... So that's how you know these species are pretty old, like pre-Tasha's, because things like sunlight sensitivity still exist. DMs, just get rid of this because they got rid of it in the revised rules. It's not that fun to play with. It's just a nuisance. So they got rid of it. I see you get rid of it too. However, Undead Resilience is going to give you advantage against being charmed, poisoned. You got resistance to poison damage and necrotic damage, and you can reduce exhaustion, which is actually all really good stuff. Undead Vitality, you don't need to eat, sleep, or... Okay, you don't need to breathe or sleep, but you still need to eat because of the other function. And sub-races, we have 2 to choose from. BearFolk. So Zombie Bear as an option. Your size is medium. Walking speed 30 feet. You have Jaws of Death, so your bite attack goes up to a d6 instead of a d4. And then Undead Fortitude, if you drop to 0, you instead drop to 1, and you can do this once per long rest. Goblin, your size is small, your speed is 30 feet. You have the ability known as Dark Deed. So as an action, you can perform a combination of rude gestures, and creature has to succeed a creature within 30 feet of you has to succeed a saving throw or become frightened of you because you're just so rude. You also know Goblin and Umbral as your languages. Then we have Shadow Fae, are different flavors of elves. So we have, like I said, the first up, we have our Shadow Fae. They are elves, everything you would expect your elf to get, like elf weapon training. And that's about as much as they get with normal elves. They also gain... Okay, so yeah, elf weapon training. Like the old elves, like the elves of the past. Path of the Shadow, when in dim light or darkness, you cast Misty Step, number of times equal to your charisma modifier. Revised, this would probably be proficiency bonus times per day. That's what they do with the species these days. You have sunlight sensitivity, let's nix that. Traveler of Darkness, you have advantage on Arcana checks. Only intelligence Arcana checks, so for some reason you have to make a Wisdom Arcana check, you will not gain advantage on that. You also speak Elvish and Umbral. I'm starting to think it's Sylvan. Lunar Elves, which kind of makes me think of the Palid Elves from Critical Role. Anyway, Luminous, you can just make a 15-foot emanation of light. You can just do this a number of times. This is actually really cool because as your proficiency bonus goes up, the light counts as like sunlight, or not sunlight, it counts as magical light. So once you get a proficiency bonus of 4, it is now brighter than magical darkness, than the darkness spell. This is actually a really neat feature. Niche, but really neat. Maybe not so niche in the Book of Ebon Tides and a few other campaign settings. Then Moonchild, you always have Moonbeam prepared, and you can cast it once, a number of times per day equal to your Wisdom modifier, and you regain all uses when you finish a long rest. Pretty good, free Moonbeam. No complaints. You also get Elf weapon training, Sunlight sensitivity, Elven, and Umbral. Finally, we have our Sable Elves. These are edgy elves because they only get one feature. Blood Affinity. So it's like all your magical races where you get a cantrip, a spell, and then another spell. The only difference is you can just choose your spells freely, which is actually super cool. And I'm not honestly sure how integrated that is in D&D Beyond. We'll find out. I'll let you guys know. Moving on, we have Shadow Goblins. These little goblins are small, as you would expect. They have a movement speed of 30 feet, dark vision out to 60 feet. Quick Wit gives them deception and insight proficiency. Really good. I like those two. I mean, me personally, those are some of my more preferred skills if you can get proficiency in, even like just to have, even if, because like you're often going to do insight, and the deception check typically sometimes falls on the last person who's talking, and that's not always the person who is a charisma based character. So quick wit, pretty handy to have. Then you're also going to get shadow camouflage. You have advantage on stealth checks while in dim light or darkness. You can hide as bonus action, or sorry, you have advantage on stealth checks while in dim light or darkness to hide. I think I read that backwards, but you guys get what I mean. Anyway, Stink Eye. As an action, you can perform a combination of sounds to distract someone. So the zombie goblin can make rude gestures, and this goblin can make rude sounds. Either way, this time your opponent has to make a charisma save this time around, and they are going to have disadvantage on the next ability check, attack roll, or saving throw it makes. That's actually really powerful. That's a lot to give disadvantage on, and I guess you can just constantly do this. That's really strong. Sunlight sensitivity, you can speak Goblin and Umbral, and you have advantage against being charmed because you are of your Fey ancestry, or what they call Unseelie Blessing. Umbral Humans. Okay. We're just getting to humans now. Umbral Humans, they have dark vision and resistance to cold damage and the ability to fade away. You can, while you're standing perfectly still, you can use an action become invisible. Once you do this, you can't move or take an action. You can use this feature a number of times equals to your proficiency bonus. So as long as you're not moving, you can just become invisible. There's situations where that could be very useful. And then you also have, you can speak, read, and write common Umbral. And Umbral Humans have a subtype. First one is Changeling. So yeah, this is very much like the Fey realm, just the darker sides of the Fey realm, because Changelings, coming from the lore of being plucked by hags, this is the human that was plucked away. So you're a Changeling, so like the one from Mordenkainen's or the one from the upcoming Artificer book from Eberron. So that Changeling replaced you, and you, as a human, are this human here, this Umbral Changeling. So you get Shadow Glamour, which lets you disguise self. You also get Cover Story, which gives you proficiency in deception and persuasion. So I had a really cool idea for a party, guys. It's a Changeling, like a regular Changeling, a Bard Ranger, a Rogue. Then we have a Umbral Changeling, Bard Ranger, a Rogue. And then we have a Welshkin from Grim Hollow, which follows the same lore as a Changeling, as a Bard, Ranger, or Rogue, and have them as like a party of like thieves or a party of just something. All experts. That was just in my head. Anyway, continuing on, the other version of Umbral Humans are Gifted, and these guys have resistance to necrotic damage as well as a resistance to cold damage from earlier. Then they get this long list of features here that it's going to be up on your screen. They can choose one of these, and you have to work with your DM on them. They vary from temporary hit points to increase one score by 6 up to 20, but reduce 2 scores by 2. You don't have to breathe to survive, but then you gain extra levels of exhaustion. They vary. These can be fun. Also, though, look at the actual dark powers or dark gifts from the Crooked Moon or the heroic features from Obijima, because those are cool little extras that can be added to any character as optional class features, just like the way Tasha's optional class features are added on D&D Beyond. I think that's what we're going to call it for today's video, guys. So thank you all for joining me, guys. My name's been Wes. Where's the fun? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more. We will see you next time. Thank you and goodbye.